stay tuned because for the next 60 minutes, Motorsports Unlimited is on the air. Hi, I'm Jerry Bryant, and these are the lovely ladies of motorsports. And all this hour, we're going to have 60 minutes of action-packed excitement. All kinds of exciting things will happen. And we got the famous Bill Wildt, and we got all kinds of other good stuff that's happening all this hour. Motorsports Unlimited, 60 minutes of non-stop action. So let's go to the studio right now.
Thanks, Jerry, and hi, everybody. Welcome to the studio headquarters of Chicagoland's most watched, most talked about Access television series. I'm Samantha Bentley, and this is the 1008th edition of Motorsports Unlimited. Today, we're taking you to the annual Toyotafest in Elmhurst, Illinois. Our regular viewers will recall we covered this event last year for the first time, and we were so impressed, we decided to check it out again. The popularity of hot rodding imports has skyrocketed. Can you say 1,000 horsepower Toyota Supras? They were there, but that's only part of the story. Let's join Bill on location at Elmhurst Toyota Scion and see what we can learn.
Well, television viewers, this is a sign and a name that you better get used to, because I'm sure by now everyone knows that Toyota is going into NASCAR. And of course, NASCAR gets more television attention than any other kind of motorsport in the world. And it is actually a huge, huge news story that for the first time in the history of NASCAR that, I don't know, I'm not even sure if it's fair to say foreign cars anymore, because I think they build as many Toyotas in America as they do in other countries. And I think they probably employ more Americans than they do the Japanese people. Anyhow, one way or the other, it's coming, and it's coming next year as we tape this. So you have to get used to that Toyota name because they're going to be part of NASCAR. But we're here for an entirely different reason today. Last year we covered this show for the first time, and apparently last year's show was not the first show they did. We're going to find out about all that, and you are.
My name's Kurt Egner. I'm parts manager here at Elmhurst Toyota.
And you are?
I'm Kurt Sheely, general manager here.
Okay, last year was not the first year for the event, am I correct?
That is correct. Last year was the 5th year. This will be the 6th.
Okay, as I understand it, you are expecting over 200 cars today.
200 plus cars today, probably close to 500-600 people here today.
Okay, it seems to break down as I look around. There is tremendous enthusiasm for the cute cubes, what I call the cute cubes. Now, as I understand it, that's really officially the XB?
That is officially the Scion XB, yes.
The Scion XB. Is that the most popular among enthusiasts or no?
The TC and the XB pretty much share the between the two.
And the TC is what?
The Scion TC is the coupe.
Okay, what is the one I spotted the other day? I didn't know they had. I thought it was pretty cool. Was the Scion XA?
Correct. The XA is the small hatchback. So there's 3 models: the XA, the XB, and then the Scion TC.
Now I can just about picture that XA with about 500 horsepower and all the rest of it. They don't have them like that, though, do they?
No, not really. Probably not 500 horsepower. But some of the TCs you might see have some bigger horsepower.
Okay, from a parts standpoint, the one thing we're going to see here today, as I understand it, is a lot of Toyota Supras. And this is a little strange, folks, because you got to remember, these guys are obviously new car dealers, and obviously they want to do with their show, I presume, is to promote the note. And probably the most, now, at least it's held in great esteem, is the Toyota Supra, and they haven't made them since, what, 1999 or something?
Well, last time they shipped them here was 1998, and this is one of Toyota's hottest high-performance cars ever made. Most of these cars have capabilities of producing over 1,000 horsepower and low 9-second into high 8-second quarter-mile times. Today we'll see a couple cars here that'll be pushing well over 1,000 horsepower, and these are also street-driven cars that these guys drive to work, drive to shows, sit in bumper-to-bumper traffic with the AC on and listen to the stereo also. So these are not trailered Dyno Queen cars. These are full cars that these guys build and drive on a daily basis, but also put well over 1,000 horsepower under the hood.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in my judgment, anyhow, and certainly Toyota's come a long way without any help from me, but in my judgment, the Toyota Supra really put Toyota on the map with the enthusiast.
Oh, definitely, because it's a car that was basically indestructible, bulletproof, and besides that, a lot of the aftermarket Japanese companies jumped on that technology that Toyota produced and even produced more technology and more parts to make the cars go even faster.
Very cool car, tons, in excess of 300 horsepower by the time they stop producing them, and I'm talking about in stock trim. Obviously, they have great potential. What he's talking about, 1,000 horsepower and all that. Now, what's going on here right now, and I've got to let these guys get back to work. Chuck, pull your camera shot back. The cars, we've been here for about a half an hour now. The cars just keep rolling in and rolling in. In the 30 minutes that we have been here, Chuck, pan your shot over there. None of these cars were here when we pulled up to set up our camera, and it looks like you're about 25% full already, and the show doesn't start until 11.
Yeah, it doesn't start till 11 o'clock. Roland was at 10 o'clock, and I tell you, they're lining up already. So it's going to be a big day today.
Well, you guys got to be pretty happy about what you put together here and how it's maturing and how it's developing enthusiasm among the enthusiasts.
Yeah, by word of mouth and everybody talking and the reputation we've gained doing this, it just every year it's growing by leaps and bounds. Actually, this is probably going to be double what we did last year.
I think that's just great. And now the car we're standing, if you guys would step this way just a little bit over here so you can talk to me and tell us what we've got here. Who can best tell me about this one? Who can do it?
Well, this is a tough one. Cyan, actually, the cars, this is one of the cars that are actually from corporate headquarters from Toyota, and it is a turbocharged Cyan TC. It also has nitrous on it. I'm not really sure what the horsepower is because we didn't get the specifications on the car, but it's one cool car.
Well, for television purposes, they got the color right.
Yeah, they sure did. That's bright.
Okay, now there's a couple other cars. If you guys would step back in a little bit here. And by the way, year and model on this?
This will be a 2005 TC.
And by the way, the interesting thing about all of this is going to be that in 20 years from now, I'm sure I won't be around anymore, but in 20 years from now, there'll be some guy at one of the local cruise joints, and there will be people that know this model number and what number the VIN number was and what it was equipped with and all that. And remember, you guys know that?
It's the next generation.
Yes, it is. It is. In fact, what pleases me as I look around here, most of the car shows, and I pointed this out many times, we do tons of car shows, is you can always tell the age of the people by the cars that they have. When you see people with 57 Chevys, they're going to be guys my age. You see guys with the Chevelles, they're going to be in their 45s and 50s. You look around here today, mostly young people.
A lot of young people.
Yeah.
And in their 20s.
Mostly in their 20s. So this is really the future. We need to look at it. And it's very, very cool. You talk 1,000 horsepower, You're talking about very cool. Now, they got a couple other ones here. I don't know who's going to tell me about them because I know these guys are busy, but they've got a couple others. We want to move our camera for this. Then, once again, help me because I need... You know, I'm a guy that was raised at the time with the 409, 409s and all that, so I need my education on these things too. This one is the coupe model of the...
This is the Cyan TC right
Cyan
here.
TC. This is the coupe model, but we're also going to be able to take a look at a
XB.
XA is what I'm talking about.
XA?
XA.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to learn this as we go along today, folks, because it's getting more and more important. I'm going to let these guys get back to work here, or if I can snag one of them to tell you about the other two cars that they've got kind of featured out here before we get into the participants' cars. Don't go away. We got a ton more to show you.
Okay, I'll take that one. Hi, I'm Patty Borowitz, and before I decide, perhaps I'd better check out a few more.
I am beginning my education here now, and the first question I had as I look around, as a matter of fact, Chuck, when you bring your camera shot back, and I know the audience is going to love that graphic, I want you to go back up to that Toyota sign that we started on in the beginning in our opening interview, because underneath it, it says Cyan, like a completely different brand name, and that's because it is a completely different brand name, and I'm trying to understand all of it, and apparently then, fair to say that Toyota, the name Toyota, is more like General Motors?
Exactly, just like you have General Motors with Ford, Buick, Chrysler, Pontiac,
Bingo.
Cadillac.
That's what I want to understand.
It's the same here. We have Toyota, we have Scion, and we have Lexus.
Okay, and all of them are Toyotas.
Exactly, they're all basically Toyotas.
Okay, and a lot of the focus I've noticed today, because I don't see guys bringing in Lexuses, so I'm sure there'll probably be a couple, but
We'll have a few here, yes, later.
You have a few, but the main focus seems to be on the Scion line.
All right, right now, because that's the new generation car for
That's
the youth
young
of
people.
America.
That's the young people.
So-
And Chuck, if you would, pull your car. I want to show this one off because this is something I guess that Toyota or Scion provided to you.
Right, Toyota provide us with 4 different vehicles today to show what are the possibilities that can be done on some of these vehicles. You know, between custom graphics, wheels, tires, engine modifications, interior modifications, and which is very popular today with a lot of the younger crowd, people's in their late teens and early 20s.
As a matter of fact, Chuck, if you're already over there, I wanted to pull the camera shot back and show the car. This is a car that if you just use your imagination just a little bit, you can imagine flared wheel wells, bulging wheels, almost a caricature of the traditional American street rods, but done in an import kind of form. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, kind of like the hate to use the pun, but Fast and Furious type crowd.
Yeah, precisely.
Which was popular, about 5-6 years ago.
Okay, based on your experience, what among the young people of the three Scions, correct? XB,
Yeah.
XA,
And TC.
And TC. Well, what really captures their imagination most, or is it about equally divided?
Well, we found mostly the XAs are mostly people over 50 years old that are buying that type of vehicle.
Yeah, that's the one that appeals to me, believe it or not. Yeah.
Exactly, because it's a small car, good gas mileage.
Well, I'm thinking more turbocharged, 500 horsepower.
And it's easier for them to get in because the car's lower. And everything. The XB sits up a little bit higher, and that's a 4-door version, which is also very popular. And then you have the TC, which is a 2-door coupe, which is very extremely popular now. We'll probably see, I'd probably say 10% XAs here today, and probably equally matched, probably about 40% XBs and probably about 40% also 45% in TCs, which is 2-door coupe.
Okay, I think the next one we better look at this XA that I've been talking about, because it caught my attention on the street the other day, knowing I had this show coming up, and I saw it on the back of the car, and I said, boy, that's one I should know about. That one looks pretty cool. So we're gonna take a look at that one next as we educate ourselves, because this is important. I'm 63 years old. Most of the guys who run into the car shows are between 45 and 65 or so. But this is the next generation of enthusiasts, and it's important, and it's cool, and it's something we really need to know about.
It would be difficult to find a cuter vehicle than the XB. Hi, I'm Janine Lauschat, and it's time to check out the XA that caught Bill's attention.
Well, this is the XA, folks. I saw one of these on the street the other day, and it really caught my attention because it reminded me very much of a kind of car that captured my attention, a decade or two ago, and I'm sure he's much too young to remember this. The World Rally Championship had a group of cars called the Killer B cars, and it was actually the B. Its official thing was the B class, but for whatever reason in the rules and all that, these things were 500 and 600 horsepower, all-wheel drive, awesome cars. They became known as the Killer Bees because a lot of guys got killed in them over in the World Rally Championship over there, and they eventually banned them. It was way too much horsepower and all of the rest of it. However, I always like the looks of the car. And Chuck, if you go back to this once again, I see what Toyota did here with the cool rims and wheels, and I don't know if the audience can see it or not because it's a very dark car, but the ghost graphics in it and the flames and all very cool. But if it's me, it's getting flared fender wells, and I don't mean an inch, I mean 3 or 4 inches on each side with big wheels front and back and a ton of power and all the rest of it. First of all, you are.
I am Raul, president of Sign Evolution Chicago.
Okay, and can you tell us the details of this car? I've kind of already slid over this because we're trying to educate our audience. This is the future. This is what the young people are into,
right.
And it's cool, and we need to know more about it. Car like this, standard engine, displacement, number of cylinders, horsepower?
Standard engine like this one here is a 1.5 liter engine, 108 horsepower, 4-cylinder. That's pretty much it. It's a basic economy car, but in a nice different shape. So
yeah, the shape is great,
exactly.
and it can't, it inspires thoughts
right.
of, it's a little bit like some people look at a 32 Ford and they see an antique. Some people look at a 32 Ford and they see a street rod.
Right,
you know what I
exactly,
mean? And I
right.
think these carry that same kind
right.
of, you know what I mean?
Same vein, right.
Now you're the president of
Sign Evolution Chicago, correct.
What does that mean, Sign Evolution?
Sign Evolution is a national chapter and actually a national club, and we even have clubs in Japan, Hawaii, Puerto Rico as well. So I'm the president here for the local Chicago chapter.
Okay, now we've already looked at the XB, what I call the cute cubes.
All
You
right.
guys probably hate that. Does that have the same engine and driveline as the XA?
Yes, they're mechanically identical, so same transmission, same engine on both.
Okay, and there are no, well, you can answer the question, performance items from Toyota or Scion, however you want to.
What Scion does is they have, for example, some like cold air intakes, exhaust systems and stuff like that, but as far as like forced induction systems and stuff, that's all aftermarket.
That's all aftermarket stuff, and I presume there's plenty of aftermarket stuff by now.
Lots.
Lots of stuff. Okay, we've got one more. Is there anything I haven't noticed about this car that you think is pretty darn cool that creates your enthusiasm for the Scion?
I like the XAs a lot because
Yeah.
when you look at them by themselves, not much to look at, but even slight modifications on them really changes the look of them and the appearance of them a lot, so gives them a different feel.
Seems like the proportions are right.
Exactly. Right.
Okay. Well, I've got one more to show you. Talk about proportions and everything. We've got one more to show you. I'm going to hold on to him for a second since he seems to really know about the Scions. We've got one more to show you that I think is probably our cameraman Chuck Hitzenthaler's favorite.
Now I can't decide. I like the first one, the Scion TC, because of the sexy color and graphics. I like the XB because it's irresistibly cute. But Bill's right, the XA has the look of a sleeper. The proportions are right and it has lots of potential. Let's check out the one Bill thinks Chuck would like best.
Obviously, this one says Motegi Racing, but I have a feeling it is not the XB that actually gets raced here, although this is pretty cool the way they've got the graphics and all that. Raul, tell us about it. How is this one set up that our Motorsports Unlimited audience will find interesting?
What's nice about this one is that what they did is remove the rear seats over here. They put some different racing seats up front, and then they made room back there for the nice little go-kart.
That's right. In fact, they got a complete go-kart operation and event. Now, I've got to say, that looks like a pretty short go-kart.
Right, it is.
Yeah, it's a special kart?
I'm assuming it is, correct, yes.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like that would fit into any of the
I
rule
don't think
structures
so.
that I see. But it's a pretty cute. So part of the enthusiasm then for the sign and all that is the miniaturization. Fair enough or no?
Yeah, and also to create something very unique, so something that's really your own.
And quite frankly, in this time, I was going to say $3 a gallon gasoline. This time of $3.50 a gallon gasoline. I suppose in some ways we do have to kind of change our enthusiasm. Maybe we don't need 7-liter motors. Maybe we can have fun with 1.5-liter motors.
Right. I mean, it's in the same vein like the lightweight sports cars, like the Lotuses and stuff like that. You know, lightweight, but still tons of fun. That's what these are.
Yeah, do you have an idea of gas mileage on these?
Gas mileage on these are probably about 30 miles per gallon,
Okay,
regular unleaded. Yeah.
Okay. So, and that would be the same for the
XA
as well.
Correct.
Okay. Now, the one thing we have not looked at yet is the the TC. We started with the opening TC. So, okay, I think we've got these Scions kind of in order as far as what we're going to be looking at today. These are the ones that I guess Toyota or Scion, however you want to say it, provided for your show today.
Correct.
And the other ones we want to start talking to is the people that are actually coming here to participate in the show. And it looks like you guys are going to fill this place up today.
Yes, we are, yes.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for spending a little time. How long have you been president of the club?
It would be my third year now, so.
Okay, do they have a website or anything?
We're actually se-chicago.com.
se-chicago.com.
Chicago.com.
Okay, so again, the enthusiasm. How long has the Scion's been out?
Scion's been out since June of 2004.
So even though the car is that new, there are already clubs for it.
Correct.
Well, that's
Right.
pretty. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yep.
No, I think that is pretty cool. Chuck, show the audience. This one is extra cute, and I don't know. Chuck will have to make his decisions afterwards. I think this will be Chuck's favorite. I think he likes the idea that complete go-kart racing assembly with fuel and everything is in the back of it.
Several days after this event, while Bill was thinking about it, he realized why he liked the Scion line. They remind him of the British Minis from the 50s. Of course, the Scions are much higher tech with computer-controlled engine management systems and the rest of today's technology. Still, the flavor of the early Minis is there. They're cute and at the same time provide spirited performance and excellent fuel mileage. I wonder if anyone else has made the comparison. Now let's talk to some of the people who came to compete in the 2006 edition of Toyotafest.
Even though the Scions have only been out for a few years, there are, as we mentioned earlier, there are already car clubs that are enthusiasts, I presume, just for the Scions, but maybe this car club includes a lot of things. Now, as I understand it, we had this fellow on the air last year, and he's made a ton of changes to his vehicle, so I didn't even recognize it. First of all, you are.
I'm Pat Gleason. I'm from the south side of Chicago.
Okay, as a matter of fact, your car club is called?
Psychotic Chicago.
Okay, now is that strictly a Scion club or all kinds of cars?
No, strictly Scion.
Strictly Scion. So even though the Scions have only been out for a few years, there's car clubs just devoted to them?
Yes, there are.
Okay, why?
Just for the basic love of people doing things to their Scions. They want to get together and join clubs and hang out and do different functions with everybody.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
25. And again, we're trying to understand where the enthusiasm is coming from this thing. As I look around here today, it's basically young people.
Yes. Well, the reason why everybody loves them is they're so different. Nobody else in the world, has cars like these. They're great.
Okay, so let's start out. Tell us what we've got here, the make, year, model.
It's an 05 Scion XB.
XB meaning the cute cube.
Yes. That.
And what have you done with it?
I've added custom graphics, which are all light reflective, thanks to my sponsor Wheel Art out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I've added rims, 17-inch rims with a 40 series tire, also with the reflective vinyl on it. I've added a stereo system to it and some more interior LEDs.
Okay, I do not recall the graphics last year, the exterior graphics.
No, I just got the graphics done about 3 weeks ago for Scion Exposed Chicago.
Okay, now are you for Scion what now?
Scion Exposed Chicago.
What was that?
It's another nationwide meet that Scion holds and so that everybody can get together and hang out and see what other people's Scions look like.
And I imagine since this is your second year here, or at least your second year here, you enjoy Toyotafest out here at Elmhurst Toyota.
Oh, I absolutely love it. It's a great show. People here are really nice. They go out of their way to do anything for you.
Okay, well, I think that's great. Is there anything I haven't noticed about your Scion? I'm going to resist Cute Cube. They're going to kill me eventually. XB. I'm going to pound that into my head for the XB. Anything I haven't noticed about it that I should have?
Mainly the logos. I've completely badged it now. Last year it was a completely stock car. The vinyl is what sticks out the most, especially if it were a night show. The vinyl.
Because it's light reflective.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something new in vinyl. What are your plans for the future on it?
For future, now I'm going to start working on the engine bay, cold air intake. I'm going to lower it, put air ride on it, and cold air intake, bunch of stuff.
What has anybody done any work on these things? I mean, real high performance work like superchargers, things like that?
Yes, they have. As a matter of fact, one guy in our club has a turbocharger he's putting on his.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool. That'd be along my lines of thinking of let's make these things smoking fast.
Exactly.
Anyhow, folks, once again, as we continue on our effort to try to help you understand what the young people are enthusiastic about, Chuck, show the audience the car. This is it.
Beautiful and cute at the same time. He's been working on it for a year, made a ton of changes, and still has more ideas to come. Let's take a look at another one from the same club. Is anyone surprised Lambo doors have found their way to the Scions?
I'm getting the idea now that this we're in an area right here that is part of the Sciatics Car Club. Apparently this one all the way down to the end are all part of your group. And how many people do you have in your club?
Today we have about 9 people here.
About 9, but all together, how many do you have?
All together, we're nationwide. We got a couple hundred cars.
Oh, wow, that's okay. And you are?
I'm Carl.
Carl what?
Ludvigsen.
And where are you from?
Frankfurt, Illinois.
Okay, I couldn't help but notice yours, and what I'm trying to do again is I'm trying to give the audience an idea, and myself for that matter. I'm trying to educate myself on what the young people are enthused about. And how old are you?
24.
24. Okay, I want to find out what the young people are. Yes, that's young to me. I want to find out what they're enthused about, and I couldn't help but notice this one. It's had a lot of work done to it, but most important is the Lambo doors. And when we say Lambo doors, we're talking about the Lamborghini and the way they opened the doors on their Diablo and Countach and all the rest of it. This is not an easy modification. This is extremely difficult. First of all, did you do any of the work yourself?
Yeah, I did everything myself.
Including the doors?
Including the doors.
That had to be rough.
It was, especially doing it by myself in my garage. I had no help, so that was it.
No, this is hard. Give you guys an idea of what you have to do to put these Lambo doors, which means the way they open by almost like scissors.
You got to take off the bumper, the hood, the fenders.
No.
Yeah, everything. The whole front end of the car's got to come off, and quite a bit of cutting, some welding involved.
That's a huge job.
It is.
Now, are you satisfied with the results?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Okay, well the thing that I'm satisfied about that pleases me is that I am glad to see that the auto enthusiasm hasn't gone away. It's just kind of changed horses, so to speak, because the fact of the matter is when we have young people spending their time taking on challenges like this, how long did it take you?
It took me a little over a weekend.
That's it?
Yeah.
Boy, I'm slow. It would have taken me several weeks. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that these are productive things for young people to be doing. And in the process, my guess is you learned a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
So all these automotive projects are really educations.
Yeah, it's an experience every time.
Okay, yeah, especially if you got to take that much of the car apart to do it, you know?
Yeah.
What else have you done to the car? First of all, we should have started with make, year, and model. What have we got?
It's an 05 Scion XB.
Okay, and what else have you done to it besides the doors?
It's got a leather and suede interior, and I got 11 TV screens in there.
No.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the big things.
Okay, and what are your plans for the future on it?
I'm going to put an air ride suspension on it, so raise it and lower it as switches.
Okay, now you're talking about hopping, or you're just talking about so you can run it flat, slammed, and then...
Just so I can run it slammed and then raise it back up for driving.
Okay, tell the audience what slammed is. This is, once again, new language.
So when I let the air out of the bags, it'll sit on the ground.
It'll pretty much scrape the ground.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
And that's kind of a hot look these days.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's the lower the better.
Yeah, and that, by the way, is no different than it was in our time. In fact, I've explained this before. In the early 50s, the hot tip was the tail end would drag the ground. In the mid 50s, the hot tip was the tail end would be up in the air. And in the late 50s, the hot tip was the entire car high in the air. So this is kind of a fashion statement.
Yes, it is.
And today the hot tip is to have one that you can slam, but also recognizing you really can't, with the crown streets and getting out of alleys and stuff like that, it's not practical. You can't leave it that way, so you want to be able to move it up and down.
Right.
All right, well, listen, you got a great car here, and I appreciate the work you've done on it. That is not, folks, again, this is not the first time I've heard about it. Usually they leave the Lambo doors, they leave those to the professionals, because that's not easy to do. The man did it himself.
I love the doors. Very cool. Now let's check out a modified XA, the ones Bill likes.
Once again, as we understand the entire import thing and the things that the young people are so enthusiastic about, I want to remind the audience it says Scion on the car, and there's a Scion XA, a Scion XB, and a Scion something T. Am I right?
TC.
TC. All right, and the two most popular ones seem to be the XA and the XB. Fair enough? Mm-hmm. Okay. And this is, by the way, all part of Toyota. And that's the thing that was puzzled me a little bit, because this is, in fact, Toyotafest. It's advertised as Toyotafest. And yet, I would say probably 2/3 of the cars here, well, maybe not two, maybe half of them are Scions. But Scion is part of Toyota, as is Lexus. So the name Toyota, I guess, is a little bit like General Motors, and they have Chevys and Fords, or Chevys and Olds, and no longer Olds, Pontiac, God, I am old, Buick, and all the rest of it. So again, as we try to understand this, I've got a young man here who's also are you part of the Scion car club or no?
Not yet. Getting into it.
You're getting into it now, because as we look up and down the row here, Chuck, if you broaden your shot, swing, we've got all XBs except for this one lone XA over here, and it caught my attention because I like the XA. I think it's a cool looking car, and apparently you like it too. What do you like about it?
Just styling. It's better than driving a box to me.
Okay, so the box doesn't appear. Now, my cameraman right now is cringing because Chuck loves the box, and I guess that's what makes us all different, is that we have a different appetite for different looks. But I think this one is very, very cool. First of all, if I didn't do it, your name and where you're from.
I'm Kevin from Munster, Indiana.
Oh, all the way from Indiana. Just up here for Toyotafest? Oh, pretty cool. First time here?
Yep.
Yeah. What do you think so far? You enjoying it?
It's pretty good. I mean, lots been done to a lot of Scions here, which is surprisingly.
Isn't that, it surprised me. The cars have only been out for a couple, 3 years, and it's surprising me all the aftermarket stuff available for them, and the fact that there are car clubs devoted to them already.
And I'm surprised about all this.
Yeah, I am too. Now, it looks like you've done some work on this one. Tell us what you've done.
Just pretty much basic cold air intake, strut bar, painted engine cover.
Okay, when he's going real fast on that. When he's talking about the cold air intake, he's talking about this. You want to bring the engine temperature down a little bit?
Yeah, it helps to bring it down.
Well, not engine. We're talking about air intake temperature.
Cold intake. You get colder air for it. Makes it burn better gas mileage, few more horsepower.
And the strut bar he's talking about, Chuck, can you see this on the camera shot? What happens is, like in all unibody cars, all cars, period. The stiffer you can make the chassis, the better it handles. And on unibody cars, there's a peculiar problem of twist from this side to this side, so that when you get into these things where you're probably going to put them in high performance application, these are aftermarket items. This is actually a brace that goes from the upper suspension tower on the left side to the upper suspension tower on the right side to stiffen the whole front end. And if I don't have it right, that's why we have guests out here to explain it.
Yeah, it just helps stability so your car doesn't bend.
Yeah, you're looking for it to strengthen the chassis a little bit. What do you have in mind for the future on it?
Turbocharger.
Oh, there's my kind of guy. So you're into the let's make some performance kind of thing, huh? Well, by next year when you do Toyotafest, you're going to have that blower on there?
Hopefully. It's expensive, so.
Give me an idea when you say it's expensive. I'm guessing because the turbocharger should be around $700-800. The kit to put it in should be $500-600, maybe around $15, something like that.
For the whole complete kit, you're looking around $2,000.
Okay, would that include an intercooler? Well, that's not bad. That's not bad. No, you can believe me. You can spend a lot more money on stuff breaking it, trying to figure it out yourself. That's for sure.
That's why it's good being a mechanic.
Oh, you're a mechanic? Okay, what kind of cars do you work on?
Toyota.
Oh, so you're a Toyota mechanic. Okay.
Team Toyota in Highland, Indiana.
Oh, okay. And then you guys come all the way. That's how you know about this event through. Okay, well, that's great.
Because we had a small one yesterday, and these guys came out to ours, and then they decided and invited me to come out with some.
Okay, now you then are a Toyota enthusiast. Of all the Toyotas, if you could only have one of them, what would it be?
Supra.
Boy, I hear that so often. They haven't made those since what, 1999?
98, if I'm correct.
1998, and still the enthusiasm for the Supra seems to run through the entire group of Toyota enthusiasts.
I mean, it was the fastest sports car out then, I think.
Yeah, it's an awesome car. There's absolutely no doubt about it. What's even cooler about it, awesome potential. The engine is so strong, you can pump 1,000 horsepower out of it and not hurt the motor. Yeah, pretty awesome cars. Anyhow, folks, take a look. Now, Chuck and I, we're going to be going on and on about this all day long. Not all day, because we got a lot of other cars to look at. But Chuck is into the cute cubes. He likes the cute cubes. I think the XA is pretty cool because it reminds me of the Group B cars. Now, don't run away. We've got a guy here. I just overheard him say something. I just want to catch him just for a minute. Chuck, bring your shot over here. And you are?
I'm Steve.
Steve what?
Gargis.
Okay, step over here so we can see your car. I'm sorry, I overheard you talking to somebody about the car and said that this is just the way it came from Toyota and there was only 2,600 in the world. What are we talking about?
This is a 2006 Signature Release Series. The XB, there is 2,600 of them in the world, and the NV Green came stock this color, extra body pieces, the front Aerospeed grille, has a DVD player and monitors in the headrests.
You struck me as very proud of the fact you got one.
Yeah, I was on a 6-month waiting list from as soon as I hit Portland, Oregon. I was waiting 6 months for this car, just for this color.
I cannot tell you how impressed I am with the fact that the young people have so embraced this. They are talking exactly the same way that we used to. For example, when I bought a 1976 Dodge van, brand new. I had to wait almost a year for it because we heard they were going to put 440, the big block engine in. They only had them in for 6 months, and I was so thrilled that I got one of the few ever made, and nobody else even knew what I was excited about. But car guys know.
Definitely, absolutely.
Okay, thanks for spending a little time with us, Chuck. Once again, come on over here. We've got the XA here, the XB here, probably the two most popular of the Scion line, and I guess there's going to be a continual quarrel between the people that like the sleeker lines of the XA, which is more sedan-like, and the people that like the ultra cute Cube, or the XB, as it is officially known.
I don't know about you, but I'm eager to check out a Toyota Supra all these guys keep talking about. They must be very special.
Well, these are the bad ones. These are the ones that all the Toyota enthusiasts, their heart beats a little stronger when they talk about these. These are the Toyota Supras. Really interesting when you think about it that they have not made these cars since it's debatable. 1998, 1999. It depends on whether they were imported into this country or not imported into this country. But they haven't made them in this century, and yet the enthusiasm for the Toyota Supra is still extremely strong. And I've got a guy here that knows all about them, and you are.
My name's Dan.
Dan what?
Sotelo.
And where are you from, Dan?
Chicago.
Okay, first tell us about your car, make, year, model, modifications you've done, and then we'll get into the Supra thing in general.
Okay, sure. It's a 1997 Supra twin turbo. It used to be a twin turbo. Went up with a large single. Basically, the modifications go anywhere from the larger turbo to the 4-inch downpipe all the way back to a 4-inch exhaust. Larger injectors, larger cams, larger pretty much everything. 4-inch.
How many pounds of boost?
Daily I go 15, at about 15 psi. We're looking at just a touch over 560 horsepower. But if you're looking anywhere about 30 psi, my tuner is expecting probably close to 900 horsepower.
Now, have you ever run it that high?
I personally haven't on this current setup.
Yeah. What kind of fuel can you use in something like that?
Believe it or not, it still stays at 93 octane, but anywhere
at this level of boost.
At this level of boost, it's about it's about 93 octane. That's probably just regular pump gas. I can do 15 psi, but anything over I'd say 18 psi, start throwing in race gas, and
you need to bring up the octane.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, now this particular car, now I know a little bit about the Supras, not as much as I should, but I know a little bit about them. I know that in the very beginning, in the mid-'80s, when they came out with these, they were about 200 horsepower, and for 4 or 5 years they languished in the 200 to 230 horsepower area. And somewhere they pumped the thing to 320 horsepower, and that's when the enthusiastic explosion came in. What year was that?
That was 93, actually.
So the 93 on up Supras would be the 300 plus horsepower versions.
Yeah, to get technical, it's 93 and a half. That's when they started going with the MK4 body style, which is what you see here.
So it was a different body style as well as
that's right.
much more horsepower.
That's correct. Basically, you're looking at two flavors of it. The NA was putting about, I believe, about 220, and then they had the upgraded twin turbo version that was putting out 320 to the crank.
Now, why did you go from a twin turbo, and what was the boost pressure on a twin turbo, and why would you go from the twin turbo to the single turbo?
The twin turbo basically had a lot of, there are a lot of VSVs, a lot of things to take care of. I wanted a little bit more output as far as just response and reliability, and lo and behold, the Supra community got together. They had several websites that are explaining how big a turbo you can go, and just the fact that it is more reliable. There's less parts to worry about.
A little simpler?
Yeah, absolutely. It simplified the design and actually...
And what was the boost pressure with the twin turbos?
Twin turbos were about 14 PSI.
Okay, and folks, what we're talking about here is the advantage of the twin turbo. First of all, it's a lot more expensive for the manufacturers to put in two than it is to put in one and all that. However, the advantage is because there's smaller turbos, there's less turbo lag, that when you hit the throttle, the power comes on more quickly. Now, I assume you drove them with the twin turbo before you put the single turbo on.
Right.
How would you compare that turbo lag, or is it not an issue?
It depends on the size of the turbo that you go with. If you go with a smaller design turbo, maybe like a 57 millimeter, you're looking at pretty close to stock twins as far as the responsiveness of the turbos go.
But it limits the total boost you can crank into it.
Correct, right. And once you crank up the boost on there, the reliability just goes out the window. So one of the other things that was nice about going to a single turbo is that it becomes more reliable. And believe it or not, there's still a lot of support in the community for any times that you do have trouble. I mean, you've got some pretty close shops.
Oh yeah, and of course
anywhere.
the internet is gold on
Absolutely.
stuff like that. Absolutely, it's changed everything really. And Chuck, I want you to go down to the intercooler now, because one of the things you'll notice on the Supras is pretty much they all have intercoolers. Now, did you change to a larger one, or is it still a stock intercooler?
Yes, it's right now I'm running the Greddy 4-row, which is the largest front mount intercooler that you can buy.
But it's aftermarket.
That's correct. It's an aftermarket front mount. The stock ones came with a side mount, which was it was nice for the design, the twin turbos, smaller turbos.
Now, are you a technical guy? Do you know what kind of a temperature drop you get through the intercooler, or no?
I used to. This is my third intercooler, so that's a good question. I don't know what the temperature drop would be.
Okay, reason for the Supra, the reason it's held in such esteem by the Toyota guys, presumably is because of the 320 horsepower stock version, and the fact, and this by the way is an inline six, folks, a double overhead cam inline six, also for the fact that these things can reliably be pumped up to 1,000 horsepower without breaking the motors or drive lines. So I presume everything was over engineered in the car, and that's the reason so much enthusiasm.
Absolutely. Yep. It's over-engineered block. I mean, these things stay stock internals, support well over 1,000 horsepower. Everything about the car was bulletproof. I mean, especially on the 6 speeds, everything was, again, over-engineered to take a lot more horsepower than what it was currently coming with from the factory.
Okay, anything else you'd like to add to this? Because we want our audience to know and to understand. We know that the imports are tremendously popular with young people, and it doesn't really make a difference to me. I think it's all cool. I don't care if it's a 32 Ford Coupe or if it's a Supra. It's all technically interesting to me and all that, but I want the audience to understand the reason for the enthusiasm. These things don't just come about. They don't just pick any old car to get enthused about. There has to be some special things about it. Do you think we've covered it all?
Yeah, absolutely. If you ever want to know more about a Supra, go to either mkiv.com or go to supraforums.com.
Say it one more time, both of them.
mkiv.com or supraforums.com.
Okay, great. And by the way, the internet is pure gold on all of this stuff, no question about it. Now, I'm going to see if we can round up one more. I saw at the other end of this thing, I saw that we had a single turbo Supra, and the turbo looks like about double the size of this one. Chuck, if you go back to the turbo here, the turbo looks like about double the size of this one. And I want to see if we can round up the internet and talk about that one a little bit.
Okay, they lost me. Cool looking car though. I wonder why they stopped making them. Now let's check out the one sporting an even larger turbo.
Of course, I'm starting off by making my point that we have a Toyota Supra down here that has a much larger turbocharger. As a matter of fact, the turbocharger is roughly the size of the engine. The point that I guess I'm going to have to confess is, as it turns out, even though it's in the line of Toyota Supras, it's not a Toyota Supra. And Chuck, as you pull your camera shot back, I think the audience looking at it would think it was a Supra. Guess what? This is a Lexus, and this is my idea of a Lexus. This is something I really like. First of all, you are?
Chris Threadgill.
And where are you from, Chris?
Bloomingdale, Illinois.
Start with make, year, model. What do we have here?
We've got a 1993 Lexus SC300. It's
1993?
Correct. It's a bit
Wow.
older. It's basically the first year the body style of the Supra came out, and this car is essentially built on the same platform as the Supra.
Now, does that mean same engine, same transmission?
The engine's actually a naturally aspirated engine from the factory, so this has been converted to a Supra motor.
Okay, big job then. You've got to change everything, computer mapping, all of that. It's not, I would think it would be much easier to start with the Supra that was originally turbocharged.
Absolutely. This is just going for something different.
Okay, give us an idea now what you've done to it. The turbocharger looks huge.
Yes, it's 80 millimeter turbo. The motor itself has been It's a custom sound performance stroker motor. It's 3.2 liters in, as far as displacement goes.
It started out as?
3.0, which is a factory 2JZ GTE motor. It's got all custom work as far as the header, the intake manifold, and the bottom end. So it's been machined, line honed, billet mains. It'll handle about 1,400 rear wheel horse.
Okay, what are you pulling out of it with this turbocharger? First of all, how much boost?
Well, we can only hold about 35 pounds. We need a new boost controller.
Only hold? You're able to pump this thing up over 30 pounds?
It should be able to hold about 45 pounds of boost.
No.
Mm-hmm. It's so far to date at 35 pounds of boost. It's put down 1,006 rear wheel horsepower.
This is awesome. Have you ever run it at the track?
Yeah, last year actually with 300 less horsepower, with slicks on, we ran a 959 at 143. Not bad for a sleeper.
I got news for you, my friend. The world is changing, and it's pretty good. I'm kind of glad.
I appreciate that.
No, because here's my question is, when you pull out those kind of numbers, how about transmission reliability, rear end reliability? Are you braking stuff or no?
No, believe it or not, it's actually a super transmission, the Getrag, the 6-speed, which has been proven to up to and plus 1,000 horsepower. It's a super rear end, super half shafts, everything else. Supras were very overbuilt from the factory, and thank God I was able to cannibalize those parts for this.
So essentially, you've got a super driveline in here.
Pretty much, yep.
Okay, and did that simplify some of the turbocharging stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything fits in there just like it would a Supra.
I'm looking for an idea here, so I'm thinking if I could find a '93 SE
for about $5,000, absolutely.
Well, I was thinking if I could find one for about $1,500.
Sure, absolutely.
But then I'm going to have to find a Supra to pirate the motor and trans and all that.
Yep, and actually you can have it. People are actually finding JDM motors, which are a little bit cheaper. You can import them in since they come out of cars a lot quicker.
What does that mean, JDM?
It's the Japanese version. They import them over.
What was better about them?
Nothing's really better about them. They're about the same. The only thing difference are the stock turbos have ceramic blades. They spool a little bit faster. The intake cam and exhaust cams are a little bit different. Other than that, it's basically the same engine as the Supra.
Well, I cannot be more impressed. I love what the young people are doing with these things. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Well, you're not a young person anymore. This guy's not young anymore. As soon as you get a 3 in front of it,
I hit my midlife crisis here, right?
There you go. Well, you're not quite midlife either, buddy. But what I like about this is the exact same enthusiast exists as the time when we did 55 and 56 and 57
Absolutely.
Chevys. It's it is so the same. I can't tell you. It's just we've changed horses a little bit. That's all. And you know what? If I'd had the opportunity in 1956 or 57 to have 1,000 horsepower, what does it weigh?
About 3,800. It's got a roll cage in itself.
1,000 horsepower, 3,800. I'd have been real happy. Anyhow, Chuck, I want you to go back to that turbocharger one more time because I think it's a standout item. And one quick question on that I should have asked before. Turbo lag, big turbocharger. How much of a problem?
Can be on the street because it hits hard, very high up. It's about 5,000 to 5,500 is where you start to see the boost, and 6,000 it just comes online full force.
All right, what we're talking about, folks, is turbochargers are peculiar in that they depend on exhaust gas pressure to spin the supercharger. There's no difference between a turbocharger and a supercharger, it's how they're driven. And in order to make power, that turbocharger impeller has to be spinning, and in order to get it spinning you need RPM. Now I remember once driving a Porsche Turbo Carrera, and that car changed character at 3,500 RPM. It was kind of almost Volkswagen Beetle-like at low RPM, and when it hit 3,500 RPM it hit you so hard it would become an F-18 Hornet. Presumably this hits even harder at a higher RPM.
That's pretty much the case. It's down low, it's very manageable on the street, nice and docile, but once the turbo spools up, it feels like a jet airplane taking off.
Very cool. Chuck, once again, I want you to go back to that engine and turbo. This is pretty cool. That's something you can put the whole turbo, the whole super driveline into the Lexus. I think this is a great combination.
I can see why Bill got excited about that one. Super power and performance with Lexus Luxury. Now remember, there are many ways to enjoy cars, from 1,000 horsepower Supras to tiny antiques. Now why do you suppose Bill picked this one to illustrate?
I couldn't resist coming over here for 2 reasons. Number 1, this appears to be the oldest Toyota here today. And number 2, we've got a pretty girl with it, and that will always attract the Motorsports Unlimited cameras. And as I started talking to her a little bit, I find out that she has genuine enthusiasm for these cars. First of all, you are?
Tamara.
Tamara what?
Tamara Matos.
Where are you from, Tamara?
Chicago.
Tell us about your car. What do you have here?
I have a 1969 Toyota Corona 1.9 all original, except the tires and rims and the paint job.
Okay, so your enthusiasm for this particular car or Toyotas in general?
Only Toyotas.
Only, so you're a Toyota fan.
Mm-hmm.
And why a 1969 Toyota rather than the new XBs or XAs that seem to have so many young people captivated?
because it was the oldest one that I was able to find in mint condition.
So you have enthusiasm for, I don't want to use the word antique. It's not really old. I guess it's old enough to be antique, I suppose. It'd probably get antique plates, 16. Yeah, I guess it would, So why the enthusiasm for the older cars?
I don't know. They seem to be easier to work on, and they keep going and going and going. But
well, that's true. You don't have the complications of computers and electronic fuel injection. Not that stuff isn't all wonderful and doesn't do a great job, because it really does. But I'll tell you something. When you want to go under the hood, it's nice to see a little carburetor there and all kinds of room around it.
yep, and it's easier to change the brakes, the rotors. I do my own oil, spark plugs, everything.
How long have you been doing that?
For the past 6 years.
Okay, so you're kind of a car guy. Fair enough?
No.
Okay, it's okay. Somebody instructed me in English language. A guy can apply to a group of males and females. So when we say car guys, of course, we include the women. And why'd you put the wheels on it?
Well, when I purchased the car, the wheels did come with it, and I wanted the wheels on it no matter what because it makes the car stand out a lot better. The original wheels didn't really look good.
Oh, no. It makes the car stand out, no question about it. And I'm not really sure you can get the quality tire for the earlier wheels that you can with these.
No.
Okay, anything I haven't noticed about your car that you're proud of, you'd like the audience to know?
I love the color.
Color is great. It was the same as my Corvette years ago.
I love it that it starts up and runs every day. And I just love Toyotas. I love piston.
Why? Any reason? Or?
I don't know. I think...
Well, you must be very excited about Toyota entering NASCAR next year.
No, I'm not going to NASCAR.
Yeah, but Toyota is coming into NASCAR. It's big. You don't know?
Yeah, but we're not going to have the old ones.
No. This would be for the Camry.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, no,
it's about time.
Yeah, exactly. It's time. It ought to represent the world of what people are buying. And as I understand it, this year the Toyota Camry is the largest selling car in America. So it's time we get them in the NASCAR circuit.
Toyota and Lexus is the best-selling car in America.
Is that right?
Yes.
Now,
I work for McGrath Lexus. I should know.
Okay. Now I understand. Now I know why she's got an antique Toyota here. Now I'm surprised they don't insist you have an antique Lexus.
No, I did have two. I had two Lexus. No, the Lexus came out in the later 90s.
Right.
No, earlier 90s.
Much newer car.
So, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to step out of the shot, Chuck. I'd like you to finish up with a shot of the lady and her car because this is a genuine car guy, and I just explained that's appropriate. Okay, she wants me to say girl. This is a genuine car girl and her antique Toyota.
Next, Bill wanted to talk about TRD. That's the Toyota Racing Development part of Toyota. He found just the right representatives.
TRD development, I've kind of watched what these guys have done over the years, and it reminds me very much of what Chevrolet did back in the mid to late 50s with their Corvette, that they had a high-performance car in their line. They did lots of engineering and development work on that guys bought the dual-quad Corvette systems and put them on their family station wagons and all the rest of it. Well, we're over here to talk about TRD, that's Toyota Racing Development, and I've got just the people that can help me do it. I think the audience can see by now that when Motorsports Unlimited sees a pretty girl, we know what to do. We stop and turn the camera on, and you are?
Colleen.
Colleen what?
Glant.
And where are you from?
I'm actually from Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, you
came all the way down here just for this auto show.
Green Bay fan or Bear fan? You better say Bear. I'm teasing.
All right, for today, the Bears.
Okay. And you are?
My name is Brittany Eager, and I'm also from Madison, Wisconsin.
And?
Patrice McMillan from Brookfield, Wisconsin.
Okay, so you guys are all Green Bay fans?
Yes. Possibly.
That's okay.
It depends if they're playing well at the time.
Believe me, the Bear fans down here, if the truth were known, inside we like Green Bay too. It's a long, old rivalry.
I'm
and
a big Cubbies fan, so.
A big Cubbies fan.
Yes.
Okay, now who can best tell me about TRD?
Well, actually today we are here to help promote the raffle sale because there's a lot of different prizes. We're giving away batteries, PlayStation, DVD players,
GPS navigation system.
Later on we're going to do actually superchargers, which will be a great giveaway. So hopefully a lot of the consumers and the little dealership will also purchase some of those raffle tickets.
Well, I'll tell you something. The thing that really pleases me, this is now, I believe, their 6th year of doing Toyotafest here. This is the 6th year for it, and I couldn't be more pleased. Each year it has grown a little bit. In fact, this year it seems to be double from last year. And the fact that they've got you guys here because there's nothing but nothing dresses up the festivities like pretty girls that put a big smile on their face. No, it's absolutely the truth. Pretty girls make everything better. There's no question. I want to thank you for spending a little time with us. Chuck, pull your camera shot, get back on, and give me a nice 3-shot here. And girls, your job right now is to look at the camera, give the audience a big smile, and wave.
Gee, they didn't seem to know much about TRD. Hey, I know why Bill did that. Guys, now let's check out another participating car club.
I found another car club, a Toyota-oriented car club, and I am just absolutely amazed at the amount of support that Toyota and Scion and Lexus are getting for their efforts. Pretty darn impressive. First of all, we have what I understand to be the founder of the club, and you are?
Evan Corolla.
And where are you from, Evan?
Rome, New York, actually, but I'm living in Lisle, Illinois.
How long have you been living around here?
For about 2 years.
Because you'll be shocked. I know where Rome, New York is. I'm originally from upstate New York.
Really?
Yeah, in fact, my town was Carlisle. I bet you don't know it. Too small.
I've heard of it.
Cobleskill?
Yep.
Okay, we're about 8 miles from Cobleskill. So,
wow.
A beautiful country up there.
Yes.
In any event, why did you form the club?
Well, actually, I was going to UTI at the time, a school for automotive. And basically, I just want to make a car club just for Toyota, Scion, and Lexus, just because there's not many around just for that company. So, and plus I had a lot of friends. And
where does your heart lie? Toyota, Scion, or Lexus?
Actually, all of them, but I do have a Toyota myself.
Okay. Okay, so you got to be excited about NASCAR next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I would think you are. Okay. Let me move on here because this is the fellow that corralled me, and you are.
Glenn Folletti.
Where are you from, Glenn?
Carroll Stream, Illinois.
Tell us about your car, please.
It's a 2005 Toyota Corolla XRS. I've got a whole list of mods. Got a new strut bar, intake from InGen, twin-tone horns, Enkei rims, TRD exhaust, TRD springs. I think that's about all I can remember at this point.
Okay, and your role with the club, if you would, please step right back in here. Your role with the club?
Yes, sir.
I say your role.
Oh, my role?
Yeah.
Just another member.
Yeah, well, that's not true. You were the PR guy. You went on grab.
Okay, PR.
There we go. Anyhow, I love the enthusiasm, though. I really do. Thanks for spending a little time with us. And we got another one here. And by the way, if you'll notice, these are larger vehicles than the X Series, the XAs and the XBs and everything. These are actually more like full-size cars, and you are.
Chris Erickson.
Where are you from, Chris?
Sun Prairie, Wisconsin.
Tell us about your car, please.
This is 2005 Corolla S.
Modifications?
We have K&N high flow filter, strut bar, G-Ready SP2 exhaust, pretty much so far.
Why the enthusiasm for Toyota?
Well, my parents have been buying Toyotas for years since they've been together, and I just like them, good gas mileage and everything.
Okay, and why the club?
I actually found it on the forums, and he was really cool. He messaged me and Evan, and we just decided to go together.
You enjoying it?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Okay, great. And he's using language, by the way, folks, that forums, they talk about forums now. That means when he says that, we're talking about internet. Internet has changed everything, and I think all for the good. And you are?
Armand.
Armand what?
Armand Noctwell.
And where are you from?
Wheaton, Illinois.
Tell us about your car, please.
It's a 2002 Corolla S, basically only made for 2 years. Intake, exhaust, just basic stuff right now, oil caps, strut bar.
And I understand you were one of the founders of the club?
Yes, sir.
I'll bet you guys have a website.
Yes, we do.
Can you say it slowly? Slowly.
LTStuners.com with a Z.
One more time.
LTStuners.com with a Z. Go on there.
Okay, great. I'm sure you're looking for new members in that all the time.
Sir. Yes,
okay, no, again, car clubs, tremendously valuable. I don't care if it's for 57 Chevys or if it's for Toyotas. The information source alone for getting help when you have a problem, when you're building something and doing something.
Exactly, because we have a forum and everybody on there posts something, put something on, helps you out. So
it's one. I happen to have a motorcycle, a Suzuki GSX 1100G. They only made it for 3 years, 91, 92, and 93. There's a forum for that. Exactly. And what a valuable source of, for a machine only made for 3 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's really well worthwhile.
It's great information on there, so
okay,
if you're not a member, you can go on there and check it out if you need some help. All the guys are on there, so we'll always there to help and stuff. So.
Exactly. I think it's wonderful. It really is. Anyhow, thanks for spending time with us. We got one more, and this one looks more like what we've been looking at all day. In fact, I'm going to ask him to step over here on the other side so the camera can actually see this side of the car because we're looking at the XA, which I think are particularly cool, and you are?
That's correct. My name is Andrew Sala.
And where are you from, Andrew?
I'm from Albania.
Where?
Albania.
Albania, that must mean originally because you didn't drive all the way from Albania for Toyotafest today, right?
No, sir, but I would have, It's a nice show.
It is. You're enjoying it?
Yes, I am.
First time?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it is. I love what they're doing here. I really do. I like it when the dealers, the people that operate commercially in these arenas, feel some responsibility to contribute to the enthusiasm, not just the commercial end of it, but the enthusiasm. And you guys represent the enthusiasm for sure.
Of course, yes, we do.
Okay.
We love our cars and we love to show them off, This is what we love to do,
Okay, and what have we got here? Make your model and what have you done with it?
This is a 2005 Scion XA. It's a special edition one. It comes with a stock rim, 17-inch rims. I haven't done not much to the engine right now, but I'm planning to do a lot of stuff to it. And the exterior, as you can see, you know, just simple stuff, you know.
Just getting started.
Yeah, just getting started on it.
Okay, and the name of the car club again?
LTStuners.com.
LTStuners.com. Chuck, if you would, go ahead and pan on down so the audience can see. This is the LTS Tuners, and I got to add the .com, I guess.
As always, we're rapidly running out of time. Let's see if we can squeeze in one more.
Folks, I want to remind you that we are in Elmhurst Toyota for Toyotafest. This is an annual event. Every year they put this thing together, and I cannot believe how it's grown. We haven't even shown you a tiny, tiny percentage of the show, as you can see by Chuck panning around right now. And we are out of program, and I spotted this one, and I says, because as you know, you've been hearing through the day, I like the XBA, and I've got one here that's done in race car configuration, and I think it's particularly cool, and you are?
Tom Fortin.
Where are you from, Tom?
Sterling Heights, Michigan.
Okay, now your car is pretty showy and pretty attention-getting, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to get it a lot more attention-getting. If you would, step right out here. Girls, please, come on in over here. When I see pretty girls, I know, turn the camera on and get them on camera. First of all, you are?
I'm Sonia.
From?
From Chicago.
And?
Katie.
From?
Glenview.
Okay, what are you guys doing here today?
Well, we're originally modeling for Scion Evolution, but today apparently Elmhurst Toyota.
Okay, so you guys are you guys enjoying the show? How about that?
Yes, we are. There's actually a good get-together around here.
It really is. This is double the size of last year, and it's just amazing to see it grow. Now, what I want you guys to do is put big smiles on your face and look at that camera, because this dresses up the act, and tell us about your car. What have you got? And by the way, folks, we're going to be going out on this one, so if we end abruptly, my apologies. But
we're out of time with only enough left to acknowledge the fine work of our award-winning production team, including Chuck Itzenthaler, Sue Cassanda, our webmaster, Frank Barbalace, Rena Borwitz, and Tom McGrady. Special thanks to JBTV's Jerry Bryant. Music is created for us by independent artists Roger Pauley and Jerry Herbert. Of course, we have to take a moment to thank the stars of this edition of Motorsports Unlimited. Janine Lauschat, Patty Borwitz, and our host, Bill Wildt. Me, I'm Samantha Bentley, congratulating Elmhurst Toyota on the growth of Toyotafest. This was the 6th year and the biggest and best one yet. We can hardly wait to see what they do next year. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
This program made possible in part by support from ABC Auto Parts, located on Ashland Avenue at 138th Street in Blue Island, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from Bridgestone Firestone and your local Bridgestone Firestone tire retailers.
This program made possible in part by support from Copy That, located in the County Farm Plaza at County Farm Road and Army Trail Road in Carroll Stream, Illinois.
Motorsports Unlimited is produced by Bill Wildt, president of the Motorsport Advancement Crusade.
This program made possible in part by support from PB Food Products, located on 47th Street at Western Avenue in Chicago, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from J.C. Whitney & Company, located just off I-80 at the Utica exit in LaSalle, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from Jimmy's Red Hots, located on Grant Avenue and Pulaski Road in Chicago.
This program made possible in part by support from the Chicagoland Toys for Tots Motorcycle Parade, held on Western Avenue in Chicago, the first Sunday in December. Motorsports Unlimited was created to raise public consciousness, understanding, and appreciation of the motorsport community and their activities. You can contact us by email at msutv.com, or you can write to Motorsport, P.O. Box 66242, Chicago, Illinois, 60666. We enjoy hearing from our audience. Please let us know what you think.
Next week on Motorsports Unlimited, it's Northwest Indiana's Jim Dandy's last dance. After 25 years of organizing street dances / car shows, he's hanging up the white bucks. Check it out next week on Motorsports Unlimited.
You're gonna say me why.
So that's it, another edition of Motorsports Unlimited and the lovely ladies of motorsports. And be with us next week because we'll have something real exciting. Bill Wildt's going to have the lovely ladies, and just about anything can happen right here on Motorsports Unlimited. Every week at this time, we bring you the best in motorsports. So be seeing ya. Bye-bye. And keep on rocking.